Hi guys, welcome to the Millennial Movie Fan Channel. My name's Tyler. Today's review is going to be for Nightmare on Elm Street, the classic horror movie directed by Wes Craven. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure that you give me a thumbs up down below. That like button really helps out the channel. Also hit subscribe and hit the little notification bell. That way you get alerts to when I post a new video. And share this video around all your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, and all the different social medias. That way they can join in the conversation with us and be part of the movie fan community. This is an all-time classic horror movie, and one of the things that really stands out to me when I rewatch this movie, probably almost every year for the past 10 years since I've been not afraid of it. When I was a little kid, I was super afraid. So now that I get into it and I watch it every year, the effects really hold up. And when Freddy goes after the first girl in her bedroom and she's floating in the air and she's spinning around in a circle and up against the ceiling and squirming on the ceiling, that's awesome how she can float, and especially for what they had to work with back then and what the budget of this movie was. I was watching this movie with my friend Tyler, and he pointed out that the budget was $1.8 million, which when we look at today, how budgets have ballooned out of control, that's crazy for then, for Hollywood standards, and then for also today when we look at the budgets for these big-time blockbuster movies that come out. It's like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? And there's lots of things like that in this movie where Freddy's cutting himself open and he's got maggots inside. It's a lot of good effect work, especially the iconic scenes where the main character Nancy is on her bed and she's about to fall asleep or has already fallen asleep, and Freddy just kind of sticks his face through the wall and he morphs through the wall. It's a really iconic scene that's super well done, and other horror movies have taken from that where ghosts are morphing through the walls and you see their hand come through the wall and doesn't necessarily break through the wall, but it's extending the wall outward. That's awesome. And when Johnny Depp's character gets sucked into the bed and it spits blood out, that's also an iconic one. It gets played in all commercials and stuff for montages of horror movies. It was crazy how they were able to do that, especially back then. Speaking of Johnny Depp, he runs like a girl. There's a scene in the beginning. I can't not talk about it. He runs like a girl. There's a scene in the beginning where he gets out of the car, or he's walking to school with the two girls, and he's like, all right, see ya. And he runs into the school. His legs are kicking back and his arms are up. And I'm like, oh my God. John Saxon is in this movie too. He's great, from Enter the Dragon fame. Unfortunately, he had passed away earlier this year in July, which is sad. It's another to add to the growing list of legends and people that we lost from every industry, all around the world that are dying in 2020. It's unfortunate, but I was watching this movie and I was like, oh yeah, John Saxon's in this. So it was great to watch this, to remember him and his work. This really is a well-done horror movie. It's got a great pace and flow to it that it establishes early on. You get right into the action and you see what a threat Freddy is to the kids. He's a menacing factor that plays in throughout the whole movie, and that just sets the tone right out of the gate. Cheesy lines he throws around are iconic, but they are just that. They're cheesy. Despite that, he's still menacing. The jump scares still work, and the movie still stands the test of time and is iconic. And Freddy's iconic himself. Robert Englund, who played him, is still iconic in the realm of horror and cinema, and it's because of his portrayal of Freddy, whether the cheesy one-liners are in there or not. And they get more and more blown out of proportion, more and more tacky as the sequels start coming out and rolling out. But in the first movie, they're not too over the top. They're just cheesy. Overall, an iconic horror movie that throughout the generations, people are going to watch and rewatch, and they're going to continue to crank out more stories with Freddy Krueger, who is now an all-time great horror movie villain. It's one that I'm going to go back to every Halloween, and as a lot of people do, we're going to keep enjoying every year around this time. That's my review, guys. Let me know what you thought about Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me know what you thought about the remake that came out in 2010. Let me know who your favorite slasher villain is from all the horror movies, and what your favorite Halloween movie is to watch around this time of year. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.